You are born inside the walls, not in the comfortable inner ring where the rich live, not in Walsina where the government sits behind its own private barrier and pretends the world is fine. You are born in the outer ring, Wall Maria, the one closest to everything that wants to kill you. Your first years are ordinary in the way that ordinary means something different here. There are no cars, no internet, no skyscrapers. The world you are born into looks and feels like the 19th century. Cobblestone streets, gas lamps at night, horses pulling carts, fields of crops stretching out toward walls so tall they make the sky feel smaller than it should. You grow up assuming this is normal. You grow up assuming this is all there is. And here is the first strange thing about being born in this world. Nobody talks about what's outside. Not really. The walls have stood for over 100 years. Whatever was out there before, the Titans, the horror, the end of civilization, it has been managed into a kind of background noise. History class tells you that humanity retreated inside these walls long ago after Titans nearly wiped everyone out. The Titans are still out there, beyond Wall Maria. Everyone knows this the way you know the sun rises in the east. It is simply true, and mostly, it is someone else's problem. Mostly. The Survey Corps handles that problem. Every few years expeditions leave the walls on horses and come back smaller than they left. Soldiers with haunted eyes, if they come back at all. The death rate in the Survey Corps is not something the government advertises, but everyone who pays attention knows it. You grow up watching soldiers leave. You do not always watch them return. But you are a child, and children do not spend every morning thinking about the walls. You wake up, you eat breakfast, you go to school, you fight with your siblings, you run through the streets. The walls are simply there, the way a mountain is simply there. They have always been there. They will always be there. Until the morning they are not. You are 9 years old when it happens. You will remember this day in specific, sensory detail for the rest of your life, however long that turns out to be. The sound comes first, not an explosion exactly, more like the world groaning, a deep resonant crack that you feel in your chest before you understand what it is. The ground shakes, dust falls from the ceiling of your house, and then, through the small window above the kitchen table, you see it, a hand, not a human hand. A hand the size of a building, reaching over the top of Wall Maria, fingers the size of tree trunks wrapping over the edge. Then a shoulder. Then a face. An enormous face with hollow, unblinking eyes, rising above a wall that was supposed to be 50 meters tall, a wall that was supposed to be impenetrable, a wall that every adult you have ever met has referred to as permanent and safe. The Colossal Titan stands above it, like it is nothing. Like the thing your entire civilization was built around is simply a step on a staircase. Your mother grabs your arm and you run. This is the moment that defines everything that comes after. Because the gate is coming down, and when it comes down, the Titans pour through. When the Titans pour through, Wall Maria ceases to be a home and becomes a killing field. You are running through streets you have known your entire life, streets that are now full of people who are also running. And behind you the sound of something enormous moving through the city, and the screaming that starts and then stops, which is somehow worse than the screaming that continues. You make it out. A lot of people do not. The survivors of Wall Maria flood into Wall Rose, 250,000 people suddenly crammed into territory that was not designed to hold them. Food runs short immediately. The government, in what they call a military campaign, and what historians will later call a massacre, sends 250,000 soldiers outside the walls to attempt to retake Wall Maria. Almost none of them come back. They were not expected to. They were sent to die slowly enough that the food supply inside Wall Rose could stabilize without anyone having to admit that was the plan. You are 10 years old when this happens, and you understand it in the way children understand terrible things. Not fully, but enough. Enough to know that the people in charge are not particularly interested in whether you personally survive. This is when the choice begins to form. In this world, when you turn 15, you graduate from mandatory schooling and enter military training. Every young person does. You have no choice about the training itself, but at the end of it, you choose your branch. The military police, who guard the inner ring and serve the government, and who get to live in Walsina where it is safe. The garrison regiment, who man the walls and guard the towns, and who face Titans occasionally but mostly maintain order. And the Survey Corps, who go outside, who ride beyond the walls on horses and blades and the unspoken understanding that most of them will be eaten. You know their death rates. Everyone does. In some years, the Survey Corps loses more than half its active members in a single expedition. In a good year, they lose 30%. In a bad year, there is barely anyone left to ride back through the gate. And yet, here is what the Survey Corps actually does, beyond the dying. They gather information. They push back the frontier of what is known. They make it slightly more possible for the humans inside the walls to understand what they are actually facing. Every expedition that returns, even the broken, decimated ones, brings back data, maps, behavioral observations, the slow, grinding accumulation of knowledge about creatures that seem to have no purpose except to consume the people inside the walls. When you are standing at that graduation, having survived the training, having watched some of your friends not survive it, having the branch selection in front of you, here is what the choice actually feels like. It is not heroism versus cowardice. That framing is too clean. It is a calculation between two kinds of fear. The fear of going outside, where the odds are genuinely terrible and the death is up close and physical and fast. And the fear of staying inside, where the odds are better in the short term, but where the walls could fall again at any moment, where you could be 9 years old on an ordinary morning and watch everything your world was built on crumble in real time. Because that is the thing about growing up in Attack on Titan. Everyone who was there on the morning wall Maria fell carries a specific piece of knowledge that the people who weren't there do not have in the same way. The knowledge that the walls are not permanent, that the thing you were told was impossible has already happened once, that the certainty you were sold as a child was always a story, and that stories end. The soldiers who join the Survey Corps are not stupid. They are not unaware of the death rates. They join because the alternative, waiting inside walls they no longer fully believe in, feels like a different kind of dying. You look at the Survey Corps uniform. You look at the wings on the crest, the wings of freedom, which is either the most inspiring symbol you have ever seen or the darkest joke in human history. You think about the morning the wall came down. You think about the hand. You think about the screaming that stopped. You reach out. You take the uniform. Because whatever is outside those walls, at least you will be moving toward it. And in a world built on the pretense of safety, movement feels like the only honest thing left.